want to do ADC tier list now for patch 5.12, 15.12, 25.12, whatever the fuck you want to call it. So this patch is a very interesting one. Honestly, I think this is one of the best patches Riot has done all year. It's the best patch Riot has done all year, in my opinion. Some really, really good changes. They nerfed the ADCs that I thought were all problems, especially in competitive play. And I feel like they really hit the mark on trying to change a little bit the meta. Or are you guys all saying Tom Kench, Mundo, Sion? Guys, I'm not going to rate every champion in the game. I'm going to rate ADCs. Let's just do it in the order of the champions. And we'll see what we end up with. So start with Aphelios. Aphelios was one of the champions that got buffed this patch. I think the buffs were actually really significant. It was mostly to his early laning phase. He got a buff in his attack speed, level 1. It feels really, really good. He got a buff in his red Q moon speed. Feels really, really good. And he got a buff on his green Q damage. I think he went from being pretty bad mediocre to being, I think, like low A tier for me, or middle of A tier, something like that. He's definitely a champion I want to revisit a lot more in solo queue and try to play and see how far I can get on him and see how easy he is to climb on, because he is like my favorite champion in the game. I love him a ton, but he's usually never like one of the best solo queue champions. But I feel comfortable putting him close to A tier, and maybe we'll push him down to B tier. We'll see how we evaluate him as time goes on. I love to go Yuntal on him, so I can go Swifty Boots. Even after the Swifty Boots nerf, I just feel like it's optimal in most games, since you still kind of require movement speed. Maybe if they were to buff his base movement speed, I'd want to change up my build, but I just don't think he's that good. And then there's also the Yumus build, which I'm not a huge fan of, because it just delays your crit too much. All of Aphelios' abilities can crit, and I really feel like on a champion like Aphelios, delaying that crit doesn't feel the greatest. I think Yumus was a really good item on him before. I used to spam it, but then Yumus got nerfed, and now I feel like it's not as competitive as the crit options. But it's definitely a viable build, especially when enemies are squishy. You can go like Yumus into Collector and just play to one-shot people and have a ton of fun that way. And also for the skill order, I go 1 point in W to start off, and then I go 3-4 points into Q, and then into E max, and then Q max or W max, depending on just kind of the vibes, honestly. Ezreal. I think Ezreal for me falls into A tier as well. I know he has really bad win rate in solo queue, but I just really think he's very solid, because whenever I play him, he feels really good. And maybe it's weird that, you know, the stats point to him being pretty weak, but he does still have an insanely high pick rate. I think one of the highest pick rate champions. Yeah, he's the 3rd most played. And overall, I just feel like he's always a solid champion, really good with mage supports, really good with the poking supports. So if you have something like a Karma, you have something like a Seraph, something like a Vel'Koz, you really can't go wrong with Ezreal, and he also has a ton of safe laning. The only thing is that you do kind of fall off after 2-3 items, so it's important that you're good at playing the Ezreal level 1, you stack up the Q, stack up the passive, you're good at spacing, you're good at hitting the Qs, so that you can actually abuse his strong early laning phase, because if you don't, you're going to get outscaled by the other crit ADCs, and you're not going to have a great time. And then Jinx. So Jinx is a weird one, because Jinx is not played at all anymore in high elo, but her stats for the last, like, pretty sure the last 10 patches has just been phenomenal. You know, last patch she was 52% win rate, 12% pick rate. Last patch before that she was 52% win rate, 13% pick rate. Last patch before that she was 53% win rate, 14% pick rate. Last patch before that she was 53% win rate, 50% pick rate. Like, she's just been so good every single patch. Every single patch she's been top of the stats leaderboard pretty much. But in high elo, if we look at like Grandmaster Plus here for here, then we see quite, actually she still has a pretty high, okay, this is a long time ago though. If you look at the newest patch, I think we'll see that she has a lot less pick rate now in high elo. You can see in Grandmaster Plus she has a 6% pick rate, which is still on the higher side, right? There's quite a few champions below her, but it's still not nearly as popular as a lot of these other champions that you're bound to see nearly every single game. I'm inclined to put Jinx A tier for my own experiences and how strong I think she is, but then I think about the average player. If you are platinum, if you are emerald, if you are gold, if you are silver, then Jinx is S tier. She just wins nearly every, like, she wins a lot more than most other ADCs do, and she's just a very, very strong pick. To highlight again, if this was a high elo tier list, I'd put her low A tier, and if this is a more general tier list, which it is, I want to make this tier list kind of applicable for all elos, then I feel like Jinx just has to be kind of S tier. And then we have Kog'Maw coming in. I think Kog'Maw is pretty mid right now. I think on-hit ADCs in general are not eating too good, and it just doesn't make sense too much to play Kog'Maw when you could play other hyper carry ADCs such like Zeri, Jinx, even Tristana, which give you more mobility while also providing kind of the same amount of damage. So I'm inclined, I think I want to put him in C tier. I think he can scale all right in certain games, but I just think there's too much poke in the game. There's too many assassins being played. There's just a little bit too much. Against HP stackers, he's very good. So if they do have something like a Dr. Mundo, you know, Aloys up in the top lane, then Kog'Maw can be great. And also if you have a Lulu, Kog'Maw can be great. But in general, in the average game, I just don't think he really shines that much. But maybe B tier is more fair for him. I think maybe B tier feels a little bit more fair. Not rated. Because I think we have our first entry into the D tier. When I see Kalista here, I'm thinking to myself, that shit is going straight to D. Why is Kalista going to D, you might ask? Well, Kalista for the last few patches have had the lowest win rate out of any ADC. If we look at Emerald Plus here. So the only ADC that has less win rate is Akshan, but we don't really count Akshan as an ADC, right? And she has a 46% win rate right now. She had a 47% win rate, I believe, last patch. And she got nerfed this patch even further. At 15.10, she's also been bad. And she's just been getting nerfed back to back to back because she keeps being a problem in pro play, but in solo queue she's just not very good whatsoever. I think Kalista will be our first and maybe potentially last entrant into the D tier, as I just think she is pretty damn bad, honestly. Then we got Twitch here. Twitchy. I think Twitchy enters into high B tier for me. He still has a incredibly high kill pressure. You can go either Yuntal or Collector if you're snowballing. I think don't go Axiom Arcanist anymore after the nerf. Sudden Impact, a lot better. Go PTA in lanes where you have a lot of pressure and enemy is squishy, and then go Lethal Tempo if they're more tanky. And you have good kill pressure, you're really strong at level 6, you have good roaming potential. Don't think AP Twitch is particularly good. I haven't seen really anybody play it, but I think AP Twitch is quite alright. Then we got Jhin. Jhin just goes into A tier for me. Very similar to Ezreal, just very versatile. Very strong, fits in pretty much every draft. He struggles against tanks, struggles against HP stackers, but hopefully if you're picking Jhin, you have something like a Gwen in the top lane, you have something like a Kindred on jungle, or you have some sort of carry elsewhere that can kind of pick up that slack that you'd normally want from ADC. And as long as you have that, Jhin is going to be a phenomenal pick. And he's really good with mage supports, really good with range supports, but also good with melee supports as well. So just overall, a very solid pick that you can kind of play whenever, into whatever drafts with whatever team comes. Then we have MF. MF as well goes into A tier for me. Kind of like Jhin, but a little bit stronger laning phase. Wants to play more with a melee support than Jhin wants to play with a range support. You want to have something like a Rel, something that sets up your ultimate and allows you to have an easier time getting a great ult, because MF on her own, her ulti is pretty easy to avoid, but if you pair that up with an Amumu, with a Rel, with a Lilia, something like that, then you can have a really, really good MF game and really pop off. The biggest thing when it comes to MF is just playing really, really aggressive, rushing towards BT, then going either IE or S3 per second, depending on if you feel like you need mana or if you just want to rush towards that IE and getting crit faster, and just playing really aggressive. The champion has a really good laning phase and a really good spike when you get that BT, so you just want to continue taking full advantage out of that. And then we have Ashe. I'm actually not sure how to rate Ashe. I'm a bit curious what her win rate is this patch. I have barely seen her, and she did get buffed a few patches ago, but she just doesn't seem to be that great. She still has a decent laning phase, and I'm surprised to see how low her win rate is, but she's just kind of average, I'd say. So I'm inclined to put her into B tier. I feel like her laning phase is always going to be a strength. Her utility, her setup is great at helping your team play for fights. And if you have something like a Seraphine, then Ashe is really fantastic. She's good with Lulu, she's good with Milio, but there's other champions that can kind of bully lane as well. I think Ezreal and MF can also generate big leads in lane, bigger than Ashe can, while also having kind of better scaling in some sense. Of course, Ashe does provide that playmaking with her ultimate that others don't. So if you can abuse that, then you can generate big leads. Corki. So Corki here, I'm inclined to put Corki into B tier as well. I think Corki is actually, maybe there's a hot take here. Hot take alert. I think Corki is kind of bad champion. He has pretty bad win rate in solo queue. He has very bad win rate in competitive. So he has 50% win rate in solo queue here, and the average win rate is 51, so it's negative. Not the highest pick rate. I think not. The Corki experiment, to be honest, was kind of a failure, I'd say. He's just not very fun to play, and not many people enjoy him. He was really strong. Now he's gotten nerfed quite a few times. He does have pretty good laning phase, can snowball pretty hard. But if you're good at avoiding his W and dodging his Q, dodging his ultis, and you're actually good at dodging the spells, then you can out-trade him pretty hard and be the one winning lane against him. But he's still not a bad champion to pick up by any means. And if you enjoy that spellcaster style, especially if you enjoy Ezreal, they play quite similarly. Although Corki is more lower range and more burst oriented than Ezreal, they're still, you know, they build the same items and they play pretty similarly. So if you enjoy Ezreal, you'll probably enjoy Corki. Then we got Zeri. I think Zeri is, for me, top of A tier. I think Zeri is really good. Honestly, I think Zeri is really good. Let's see how she ranks on the ladder here. They put her on top of A tier as well. I think Zeri is gonna keep rising in win rate as people kind of relearn the champion because she hasn't been good for quite some time. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see her at like 52% win rate next patch. And I think Yuntal for her is great. I was trying out Static and I was thinking Static isn't bad, but her win rate on Static is really, really bad. So I think you should just always go Yuntal, to be honest. I was surprised at these stats myself, that Static just wins so much less. One thing that is kind of strange here though, is that both items are completed at 12 minutes when Static is 300 gold cheaper. So if we look at something like Kalista, for example, which also builds Static, you will see that she completes the Static way before any other item, because that makes sense. The item is cheaper, you know? She completes Static 1 minute faster than Kraken, which is how it should be. But for some reason, they both have it completed at 12 minutes, which to me just indicates that maybe people are going more Yuntal when they get that BF sword and they get a kill early or they get a little bit of lead, and then they're going Static if they don't get that. Could be. Could be a theory, but in general, looks like Yuntal is a lot better on her. You start stacking that crit much faster. The Yuntal active gives you a ton of AD. And overall, she seems really strong. She seems really strong. I'm even actually, maybe I put her in S tier, honestly. I want to put her in S tier. She's back, baby. Zeri is back, baby. I'm going to put her in S tier. I don't give a fuck. Then we got Saya. Saya, my sweet beloved. I just don't think you're very useful. I think you're here, to be honest. She's situationally supposed to be strong, but even in games where I think about picking Saya, there's other champions that I just think do the same, but better. Like, in nearly every game I've thought about picking Saya, I've just ended up picking Tristana instead, because, you know, I can also play against a dive-heavy comp with Tristana, but I have kill pressure in lane, I have mobility, I have range, I have burst, I have everything, while Saya has a nice ultimate, you know. I'm not the biggest fan of Saya right now. I think she's could use a buff, honestly. I don't know if the stats support what I'm saying here. This is just my personal vibe that I feel like Saya does very little damage and isn't very strong. And she is in C tier here. Her win rate is not terrible, but her pick rate is pretty low. I just feel like she doesn't really pop off at like 2 to 3 items like she used to with the old Nabori. Before, it felt like when you played Saya, you got to a certain point where you could just 1v9 the game. Because as long as enemy had melee champions and they tried to run into you, you would just one-shot them. Maybe with your feathers if you played well. But now it really doesn't feel like that. It feels like it takes so much longer to get a much lower payoff. So yeah. Then we have Varus, I think top of B tier. He got nerfed this patch as well. He's still pretty good in lane. He's pretty solid pick. I think his win rate isn't the best. It is on the lower side, but I think if you're good Varus and you're good at playing aggressive, you're good at generating those leads, then you can snowball the game. But maybe I want to put him a little bit. I think I want to put him here, maybe. Yeah, I feel more comfortable here. I don't want him top of B tier. So yeah, Varus in the middle of B. He's good if you can bully in lane and if you can generate a big lead. If you don't, you get outscaled pretty damn hard. Unless you're going on hit and it's a good on hit game and you can get some defensive items. Like you saw in that last game where I played the Aphelios into Varus, he was still pumping damage in the later stages. So you can still have good games on Varus and he can be quite decent. But, you know, they've nerfed this early game now quite a few times, so it's easier and easier to play into him. I actually think Vayne, for me, I think Vayne is pretty damn good right now. Even, like, Reptile is playing Vayne in high elo, and I think he has pretty good win rate on her. And, of course, he's a good Vayne, right? He's, like, a very good Vayne. But just the fact that he can play Vayne in challenger lobbies and succeed makes me think that Vayne is in a pretty decent spot. I think she's in a pretty decent spot. I think she's A tier. No, I think all these A tier and S tier champions are quite a bit better than her. But I do think she's top of B tier. And I think if we're talking about lower elos here, I'd feel comfortable putting Vayne like here. If we are talking below diamond, I feel comfortable putting Vayne here for sure. Because you have so much kill pressure. You have a bunch of skirmishing power. You have great scaling. The only downside is your wave clear and lack of range. But if enemy is not good enough to space and abuse that lack of wave clear, and you can just fight them, you're gonna have a great time. Then we got Caitlyn. Caitlyn. I think Caitlyn is a B tier for me as well. I think here, honestly. Maybe even worse than Varus. Worse than Varus, to be honest. I just feel like Caitlyn, you need to be so good on her these days, I feel like, to find success on her. Like, unless you're making montages like your Saber, getting every trap, predicting people, you're not going to kill people. It's pretty hard. And I feel like the other champions in the list, they have higher payoffs with less risk and also less effort. Yeah, I think Caitlyn here. And then we got Tristana. This is an S. This might be a Z. Honestly, no, it's a top of S. I think Tristana's so fucking OP. I love her so much. You can play her in any matchup. The only thing is she sucks with mage supports. You can engage all the time. You can play so aggressive. You scale insane. You have insane DPS. You have insane burst. The only thing I'd recommend is go Yuntal into Infinity Edge, into LDR, and you will explode everybody. You will explode them. Like, I started doing this, going LDR third every game instead of Navori. Look at me, bro. Look at me explode their heads. I explode their heads always. The only time I don't explode their heads is noob teams, you know? As long as good teams, their heads get exploded. I think Tristana, mega good. Maybe even Z tier. But what's her stats? Let's see if the stats support it, I can put you Z tier, Tristana. I can put you Z tier if the stats support it. The thing is, the stats are better for Jinx, bro. The stats are better for Jinx. Nah, you stay S tier. But I know you're stronger than Jinx, Tristana. I know that you're stronger than Jinx. I know it. I know it. Kaisa. Is she A tier? That's the question. I'm not sure if I want to put her A or B. She's either low A or high B. Yeah, I think low A. I think low A. Pretty decent. As long as you have a decent matchup, you have an engaged support, and if you have a good dive comp. Like, if you have a good dive comp, she's great. If you have a Vi, fantastic. Lock in that Kaisa, follow that Vi up, and you're gonna have a fantastic time. If you have a Nautilus, Kaisa Not, you know, it's a famous combo. Kaisa Not, look that shit up on Twitch. You'll find thousands of followers. So it's a great combo. If you have a good engaged support, Kaisa Rel as well, great. Kaisa Rakan, great. But once you're playing like Kaisa Lulu, once you're playing like Kaisa Milio, Kaisa Nami, Kaisa Jana, ooh, Kaisa Jana, ooh, Kaisa Yumi, Kaisa Yumi, Kaisa Seraph, Kaisa Velkos. You know, so she needs engaged supports. She really needs engaged supports. So if you have engaged supports, it's a great pick. I think you can even blind pick it, even if you have a bad matchup, as long as you're playing well and you follow up good on your engages engage. You can have a good time. But if you're blind picking it and your support locks in some bullshit, like let's say you go Kaisa and then your support locks in Yumi and enemy goes Caitlyn Lux or they go Caitlyn Seraph, whatever, right? You're gonna have a miserable time. It's gonna be a terrible time. You can try to scale, but it's not gonna be fun, right? She's pretty support dependent in that aspect and really requires you to have a pretty good engaged support. And then Senna. So Senna got pretty significantly nerfed this patch. She went from being, according to the stats here, she went from being by far the best ADC on the patch to being kind of mid, honestly, kind of mid. But I'm inclined to not overthink it that much. I think last patch she was like here. I think she was like either number 1S or Z tier. But I think she's now bottom of A tier. I'd say. I feel pretty comfortable putting her here. And then we have Lucian. Lucian. I think Lucian is still pretty good. We all kind of slept on Lucian. I'm not gonna lie, we all slept on him. I slept on him as well. I don't think he's quite like S tier level. Oh, actually maybe he is. It's either A or S. Like it's here or here. I think A tier. He's a little bit support reliant. You kind of want something that can set up your little light slinger passive or whatever the fuck it's called. Vigilance. To proc that stuff. I think Lucian Nami, by the way, I'm gonna say it, Lucian Nami sucks. When I pick Lucian, my support picks Nami, I was so tilted, always. I don't know if it, like, if we look at his best synergy, let's see if I'm right or if I'm coping here. I think if we look at the last 30 days, and we look at the best synergies, Nami's not gonna be there. Nami's not gonna be on the best synergies. Like, she's gonna be, like, on the table, but she's not gonna be the best. Yumi, I agree. OP as Yumi Lucian, OP as this shit is so OP. Yumi Taric, very good. Yumi Milio, very good. Yumi Poppy, kind of random. Yumi Jana, kind of random. Yumi Leona, kind of random. Let's see where Nami is. Nami, where are you? There's Nami, bro. There's 15 champions that have better win rate with Lucian than Nami. Anytime I lock in Lucian, my support instantly first times Nami. If supports understood that Lucian Nami is not good, he would be S tier. But they don't understand that. Smolder. My sweet beloved Smolder. Where do we put you, you little cute little dragon? I think we put you B tier, no? I think we put you right here. Right here, I think. Smolder is alright. He's better in low elo. Probably in low elo he'll be like A tier. But then in high elo he's more like C tier or low B tier. So we'll put her somewhere in the middle here. And put him in B tier here. I think he scales pretty decently, but not insane. He used to scale insane. Now he scales just alright. I tried the Huber Star Harvest build, but I think Essence Fury Fleet is just better. It has much better win rate, much easier to play. Most people try Comet, some people try Electrocute. I think you just put the Fleet in the bag. There's also a PTA Smolder one trick on US, but I don't really see the point of PTA because it's so hard to proc it. So I think just Fleet is the way to go. And then you just play to scale, play to get the stacks, and you're gonna be good. Then we got Draven. I actually think Draven sucks pretty big. Pretty big D. He sucks pretty big D. Let's see if the win rates support me here. Let's see if they support me. Last 14 days. Let's see Draven. Where are you? My sweet little king. For 50.5% win rate, and the average win rate is 51.18. Pretty low pick rate. B tier according to the statistics here, according to Lolalytics. I think he's pretty bad, but I don't know if I'm willing to put him in C tier. I think that might be too much copium. Yeah, I think B tier here. I think here. Here is where I'd put him. Thing is, Draven doesn't like win lane anymore, chat. He rarely wins lane these days. I don't know if you guys have played Draven or played against Draven, but I'm super happy when they look in Draven. He doesn't do much. Chat, Draven is a champ that's only played by one tricks. If the champion has 50% win rate when it's only played by one tricks, then the champion is bad. It's bad. It's okay that you've never played a Draven game in your life, so you can't comment if he's bad or not, because you just think that he auto-attacks you level 1, so he's good. But he is bad right now. He's bad. You ask any Draven main, they will tell you he's bad. Then we got Nilah. Okay, am I coping if I put Nilah here? Am I coping? I swear to God, this champion is freaky. Let's check her win rate. Always so insane win rate. Just 54% win rate. You guys talk about Draven. Draven had the same pick rate. He had 50% win rate. Yet Nilah can be sitting at 54% win rate. And none of you guys will complain about Nilah. Not a single soul. Actually, the Master Plus win rate doesn't go up that much. Okay, I'm coping a bit here though. I think she's high A tier. She's situationally very, very strong. You need to have good competence on her though and know her limits very well. Really know how to play as kind of a melee ADC. But if you do, I think she can work really well. I think Ghost on her is also really, really important. The one tricks that I've played against when they played Nilah, they usually always went Ghost, because the only way to really run people down and just progress the game that way. And then we got Samira. I think Samira's actually really solid. Let's see what her win rate is. My feeling is Samira is A tier. My feeling is Samira's A tier. When I played against her, I thought she was pretty damn good. Let's see if the stats support it. The stats are all right. Let's see how much they increased. What was her winner last match? I mean, they increased by 1%. Increased by 1%. I think low A tier. Yeah, I feel comfortable putting you like here. I think at the bottom of A tier, to be honest. I like Samira here. I think she's a lot better than she was. She has a better early game, so it's easier to actually snowball. She gets a lot more move speed from her passive, so she can run people down and she can kite. And overall, she benefits a lot more off of lifesteal now. So once you start getting that lifesteal, it's really good. I don't think BT Rush is actually good. Some people have been trying BT Rush on Samira, but it has much worse win rate than Collector. You should just go Collector Rush into IE, and then you can start thinking about third item like getting BT if you want that, or Shield Bow or whatever the f is. And then Sivir, last but not least. Where do you put you? I think Sivir goes into high B tier, I think. I mean, I think like Sivir stats, chat. Sivir stats are pretty damn good. Maybe it's too damn good. What? 53% win rate, 7% pick rate. That is very good. I want to put her A tier though. I don't really want to put her A tier, but I think I put her top of B tier. I think for the noobs though, for the noobs in chat, we put her here. For the noobs in chat, we put her here. Best Sivir build, Yuntal, IE, LDR. But Vayne, Ashe beats Sivir? That's not how it works though. And I wouldn't say it's like that. Like Sivir, the thing is like, picture this. Picture Sivir losing lane. What does it look like? What does it look like, chat? It looks like you're pushing her in and she clears the whole wave. That's what it looks like. Pretty hard to punish. Like if I'm playing Ashe into Sivir, yeah, I'll push her in, then she just clears the wave. But overall, I think that'll be it. I'm pretty happy with this tier list. So this was the tier list for 15 or 25.12. Overall, a great patch. Super happy with the changes Riot did. Buff to Zeri was amazing. Buff to Samira was great. Buff to Aphelios was fantastic, phenomenal. Buff to nerf to Varus, nerf to Kalista. Get him out. We don't want to see him no more. And yeah, overall, really good patch. Put more champs to C. I don't feel like any of these champs are C though. Maybe Corki. You know what? F you, Corki. Let's put him in C. Mages are not very good on bot lane. One is that mage items in general are just not that insane right now. That's why Riot did a sweep and tried to buff a lot of mage items, because they were underperforming compared to other items. And then when it comes to mages in bot lane, you have a ton of agency playing against the mage on bot lane. It's kind of like playing against a Sivir. It can be hard to kill them, but you should never lose lane to them. You know what I mean? Because you get prio level 1, because they're a mage, so their auto attacks do 50 damage, whilst yours does 80. And then once you get prio level 1, that means you get level 2 first. So then you're getting level 2 first, so you have you push for the first 2 waves, and that means you have push for the first 3 waves. And then because you have push for the first few waves, that means you get to hit the 4th wave first. So you get to continue pushing the wave on repeat all the time.